What if the key to transforming your life wasn't in a massive leap, but what if this was in a simple decision that you chose to make every single morning? Listen, today we're exploring how the smallest, most intentional daily habits can spark the biggest changes personally, professionally, and everywhere in between. So let's get started. Hey, listen, welcome to Transformation Station Best in Class series, the podcast where we break down powerful ideas and turn them into practical steps that you can literally start applying today. I'm your host, Adrienne Benson, and in this episode, we're diving into the power of daily habits. That's right, we're talking about how small, intentional actions create big shifts. And whether you're building momentum or breaking out of a rut, this particular episode, listen, this is going to be your reminder that small steps do lead to big shifts. Well, listen, today I am absolutely thrilled because we have an amazing guest. I'm going to tell you about our guest right now. Amy is the director of group coaching at Next Level University, professional speaker, event coordinator, MC, and next level personal development coach. I want to invite you, Transformation Station community, help me right now to welcome Amy. We are excited to have you with us today.
Oh my goodness, Adrienne. I'm so excited to be here. I already love your energy and love the vibe of your show. I'm so excited for the conversation we're going to have today.
Listen, I'm excited as well too, and I've been looking forward to this one because we're talking today about a topic that many times as leaders we won't really focus on unless there's a problem. But the reality is, Amy, that this topic we're talking about daily small habits, like it really impacts who we are as leaders, how we engage with our team, with our families, and how we even take care of ourselves. So, as we were preparing for this, I was thinking about the fact, Amy, that many times when we look at change, we tend to think that it has to be dramatic, like you have to do something really big. It's all or nothing. But I found, Amy, that research shows that it's those tiny, small actions that really hold the power. And I know from personal experience, after over 3 decades in leadership, sometimes I neglected those daily small habits because I felt overwhelmed. Sometimes I felt tired. And those of you who are listening right now, as I share my personal experience, right? I want to invite you, if you have ever felt overwhelmed, just go ahead and raise your hand. We can't see you, but just raise your hand. Don't say ouch, but maybe right? Sometimes I felt tired. Sometimes I was struggling, Amy, with time management, right? I had a high volume of tasks and responsibilities. Sometimes, Amy, it was like those psychological barriers, like fear. You know,
Mm.
they say fear stands for false evidence appearing real. I was afraid of something, right? Afraid of failure, even at times. Again, it might have been that all or nothing belief, right? All or nothing. So Amy, I want to go ahead and start right here. Let's start, Amy, with the big idea. Why do you believe that small daily habits have the power to create significant transformation over time? Why do small daily habits have the power to create significant transformation over time?
Oh, I'm so excited for this. And I see you so deeply in the overwhelm, the emotions, the tiredness. There's so many of us that live in that cycle, and it's so common and normal to do so. So if you're in that cycle, absolutely, you are not alone in that, but we can break out of it. We can learn to re energize and optimize where we're putting our time, energy, and focus. And there's an incredible saying, and I don't know who said it, but it's show me your habits and I'll show you your level of potential success. And I
Mm.
deeply believe that. I've seen that evident in my own life, evident in the people that I serve and get the privilege to work with. It's like you said, there are these big moments that we're waiting for that only seem worthy of our time, energy, attention, and even worthy of our celebration or acknowledgement or building into our identity. But in reality, those things only come along every now and again. And
Mm.
especially only if we're working on these things day to day to make those things happen. And so where I see people get tripped up is they're not building into their identity the small things that it takes, the fundamental things it takes every day to get to where we have those bigger, more successful moments. Now,
Mm.
sometimes we get lucky and stuff hits us, but again, the day to day is where we see our real success. The day to day is where we feel whether we are being successful or not, where we feel if we're in alignment or not, whether we're honoring our goals and our values and things or not. And the day to day, it's not as sexy to talk about. It's just these unsexy fundamentals that really work. But we live in an age of social media. We live in an
Mhm.
age of instant gratification. And so all of a sudden you see someone on the internet and they seem so successful out of nowhere. But either it's perception or we don't have access to see the decade of work that it took them to that spot where all of a sudden we are seeing them everywhere.
Absolutely.
Live in the space of that instant gratification of, oh, if I haven't become successful at the thing that I am doing in a month, then it must not be for me. I must be failing. When in reality, we're not taking that time to look into what it actually took for that person that maybe we're being influenced by, how they got there. But what we do and what we believe in and everything we have helped people be successful in has come down to, okay, what does your day to day look like? Learning
Mm.
to leverage the compound effect of
Yes.
7 apples once a day for the week rather than 7 on Sunday. It's that
Yes.
whole premise of, yeah, you could go work out 7 hours on one Sunday.
Mhm.
You're not going to see much change and you're probably going to be really sore and regretful afterwards. Whereas if you broke that 7 hours down into 14 half-hour days, you might change your whole life and create a new habit.
Yes.
There's power in small, sustainable,
Mm.
consistent action every day.
Man, like, okay, so here in the Best of Class series, we invite our listeners to have some reflective moments. To our listeners right now, our viewers, Amy just gave us like some serious gems where you can stop and you can reflect. I want to share right now a quote that says, "Big change isn't built in a day, it's built daily." And as you were talking, Amy, like this quote came to my mind. And you mentioned a few things, right? You kind of talked about systems, how one small habit leads to another, right? I'm going to give my own example that I can think of, right? They talked to us about drinking water and how it's beneficial, right? And so if I drink water, they tell me that then maybe I'll sleep better, which then would lead to me making better decisions. But it starts with that first habit of drinking the water. And leaders, as you're listening, as you're watching, Amy and I want to invite you right now. What is one small habit that you could stack into a system? What's one small habit that you could literally do starting as soon as this podcast episode is over that would then lead to that next and then lead to that next that would ultimately get you to a system of wider improvements for your life? You also, Amy, reminded me as you were talking that daily habits, they don't just add up, they multiply, right? Over weeks, over a month, they gain kind of like that snowball effect. I'm thinking right now about, how they talk about the attitude of gratitude. So we like to encourage people to, every day start off with one thing that you are thankful for. And what we share with people is you do that today, and then tomorrow that one, and then the next day that one, and you will find that by the time you get to the fourth or fifth day, your mind naturally will not just focus on one thing that you are grateful for, but it starts to that one and then that two, and then it like a snowball effect. You wake up and now you're excited about the day because there are multiple things that you realize are already working for you. So, again, to our leaders, as you are listening at this very moment, I want to ask you, what is one small habit that you literally could utilize, bring into being, call forward, execute today, that would then stack into that next small habit, and or would like have a snowball effect and have multiplication in your life. So Amy, this leads me then to ask you this question, right? There's somebody out there who's saying, okay, this sounds good, but what does consistency look like? Especially when life is feeling chaotic or overwhelming. Like, how do you help clients? How do we help people to stay on track, be consistent when life seems to be chaotic and overwhelming?
Yeah, which is everyone's day-to-day life, it seems right now. Not only is it this status symbol all the time to be like, oh, I'm so busy, you're so busy, I'm so busy, we're so busy. But I also think we're not taught to really focus on things that are actually urgent and important. We're diving into so much busy work lately to feel productive when in reality, maybe it isn't actually aligned with our goals. So we really start with self-awareness. We start deep down with identity and self-awareness and what actually matters to you and what actually is important to be doing every day based on the direction that you want to go. And so we start a lot with core values, core beliefs, and how they tie to your core aspirations. And we've seen a lot of times where someone has this core aspiration, they want to do this thing, but deep down they have a belief that it's not possible for them or that it's not going to be worth it. And so they're never going to get to that place until we can break down and shift either the goal because the belief is more aligned or vice versa. The goal is very aligned and we just have a misguided belief in there that we need to help you shift, alter, evolve, anything like that. But like you said, it comes down to small. What small habits can you have? Because consistency means every day. Habit means every day. If it's not every day, it's more of a task. I love the example of cooking rice. To cook the rice every day for your meal is a habit, but I need to go buy a rice cooker. That's the task, and it needs to only happen once. Habits are every day, and they do either set you up for success or failure based on what success means to you. Success is very subjective. So that's the other piece of self-awareness that needs to come in is what does success mean to you right now in this season of life? Maybe you're in motherhood right now. Maybe you're building a business. Maybe you want to do both or you're developing your career, anything like that. Success is whatever you want to make it. And so then just building into, okay, what is aligned for you based on all of your actual needs, wants, and desires, what success actually means to you, because we get a lot of external projection that comes in of what success should look like, what mothers should be doing, how people should behaving, acting. There's too much out there. It's beautiful how much information we have access to. But if you haven't learned yet to run it through a filter of what is aligned for you and what isn't, it can be very overwhelming. And so getting down to the identity and then teaching people to have humility and sustainability. So you can't start small without humility. You can't say, you know what, I've never been able to work out consistently for a day in my life. So I can't say starting tomorrow, I'm going to wake up at 3 a.m. and work out for 3 hours and then start my day. You're going to hate your life in 2.5 days. And then you're going to convince yourself that that is not for you.
Right.
Whereas fitness probably is for you. We just need to find out where your start point is. And of course, you can compound and build, but we need to have humility to see ourselves accurately in that moment so we can build a solid foundation. And then we need to take it into sustainability, which needs humility. But sustainability is, okay, I have never worked out for an hour a day, every day consistently for my life. So I'm going to start with 20 minutes. I'm going to start with 20 minutes every day and build from there. So if your life is feeling busy and chaotic, not only do we need to assess what is important and maybe what isn't, what you can let go of or spend less time on, and how can you bring in the things that are really going to feed into your passion, purpose, fulfillment, your rest, your joy, your peace, your success.
Yes.
And then make them sustainable for you every day.
Every day.
Sustainability is key. Small, and then build. Your capacity and your identity grows if you can do these small things every day. And then they can expand once your capacity and your identity grows along with it. But that's the underlying key of consistency is you're actually building the identity. You're building the identity to a point where it actually gets harder not to do the thing than it is to do it. And that's the beauty of the compound effect with habits.
Wow. This is okay. So I feel like I'm in a master class right now. So to our viewers and our listeners, we're going to recap a little bit because Amy gave us almost like the formula for being able to be consistent and build habits during chaotic seasons. Okay. So first of all, she reminded us self-awareness. You have to be self-aware of what's going on. We cannot walk through life like we're in a cloud, right? She talked to us about core values, right? What are your core values? How does that align with what's going on in your life in this season? How does this align with the goals that you have set for yourself? And she talked about the fact that consistency is every single day, every single day, every single day. And I know sometimes that can feel like, oh my gosh, I can't do this every day, but every day you can do something. Every single day you can do something, and you have to see this. I want to invite our leaders to see this. This is a win-win for you. Like, you win when you are consistent. You win when you have habits that are in alignment. And then Amy talked to us about this really important question, and to those of you who are listening and watching right now, I want to invite you to ask yourself this question, but not enough to ask, write it down. Okay, so whatever note-taking device you have, write this question down. What does success mean to me? You have to be able to see it. There's a saying, Amy, that says you have to see it before you see it in order to see it, right?
I
You have
love
to
it.
see it in here before you can see it with your eyes, before you will then see it manifested right in front of you. And so, this question that Amy asked us, what does success mean to you? I invite you to write the question down and answer it. Write down the answer. And you may not be able to really identify the full scope of the answer right away, but just start with one word and then go to two words and then write that sentence. And you will find, and for some of you who are not really writers, draw it. Go ahead and draw what success looks like to you. It doesn't matter what format you use, get it out. And then Amy talked to us about having humility and sustainability. Humility, put that pride to the side. Rome was not built in a day. You are not perfect. As a matter of fact, Amy, I try to remind my team, I'm not asking you to be perfect, but I am asking you to be progressive. We grow, we learn every single day. And leaders, I invite you, don't strive to be perfect. No one is perfect. We all make mistakes. We all need to grow. That growth is what is key and pivotal. And then Amy reminded us, build the identity of consistency. Consistency, small daily habits. This is a part of who you are, the fabric of your DNA. So build the identity of being consistent every single day. And we have another quote here at Transformation Station that says, consistency during chaos is not about consistency, intensity rather, it's about continuity. I'm going to read that again. Consistency during chaos is not about intensity, it's about continuity. So Amy, this leads me to this question, right? From your experience, what's the difference between performing personal development and actually living it? What's the difference between performing personal development and actually living it?
Good question. I loved that breakdown you just did. That was incredible. We say that too. Progress over perfection, always, because progress always leads to better quality regardless if you just keep taking those steps. So progress over perfection always. Perfection's for the birds. And bringing this in a leadership lens as well, if you're living through these values, through these practices, you automatically double down on your leadership because you are leading by example. And I think that's one of the most important qualities of a leader is to take the front and lead by example. And so where can you lead by example? In your habits, in your messy action, and all of those beautiful things for the sake of not only yourself, your goals, but for the team that you're leading, and to show them that what is possible through daily consistent action. So living personal development rather than just doing, what did you say, acting personal development versus living it?
Yes.
So personal development is a beautiful journey. It really is, but it's not all sunshine, rainbows, fun, light all the time. It's actually pretty messy sometimes. And it can feel really terrible sometimes, actually, because not only are you growing and expanding and learning, which is the fun, beautiful part of it, but you're also diving into your identity. You're diving into those beliefs that are no longer serving you and starting to realize maybe where those came from and how they were put onto you versus built in you from you. And there's things that you can look back on and be like, oh my gosh, if I had only known this then, I wouldn't have made that choice. And you have to hold that within you so that you can do better in the future. There are just these messy moments along the way. And I don't think that gets talked about enough, because when people get on this journey and it starts to feel hard, they're like, but it's not supposed to feel hard. It's supposed to be fun. It's supposed to be momentous. It's supposed to be, and so they think they're doing something wrong. They think it's not for them, that they're not the person to be growing and expanding, because maybe there's something wrong with them because they're starting to feel the downsides that are still upsides, but they feel down to
Yes.
personal development. And again, it's just this beautiful spectrum where we have to dive into that light and that growth and that dark and that understanding of where we maybe are not meeting our own potential.
Mm.
Maybe there's a part of us that needs healed and worked on that we don't want to look at. And again, diving into these deeper, darker, messier parts feels kind of gross at the time, but it is that short-term pain for long-term gain kind of strategy. If we stay in short-term gain and feel what feels good in the moment, we're typically avoiding those deeper, more important, if anything, I would argue, parts of personal development. That is understanding the identity you have now, and is it aligned with where you're wanting to go? And if not, how do you dig through the muck to get there? And so it's both.
I
It's
love
both. And
that.
so practicing those and getting into that deeper part of you. And if you need guidance to do that, find someone to help you guided through that, so that you not only feel like you're still on the right track, but so you know where to look and you know that it's okay and you feel validated through that experience and your emotions are honored and things, because the stuff that you go through on a true self-awareness journey, on a true personal development journey, can feel lonely and mucky sometimes. And so if you have either a community of people going through the same thing, or a mentor or a guide, a coach, something like that, at least they can help you along the way to be like, oh, this part's totally normal. This messy, yucky part is totally normal. It means you're doing something right, not that you should stop.
Yes, 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 yes. Okay, so again, this is our reflection time, right? I want to invite you, those of you who are listening and watching, pause right now and write down at least one reflection you have from what Amy just shared with us. Because real development isn't about what you know, it's about who you become. Who you become. And I've learned, Amy, in life that my becoming did not happen when everything was good. My becoming, that transformation took place when it was hard, took place when nobody was watching, took place when I was crying, took place when I felt like I was all alone, took place when I had to make the hard decisions.
100%.
Performing growth is about the optics, how I look, but living growth is about the integrity. It's about being honest with yourself first and foremost about who you are, what is working, what is not. What is not is always an area for growth. We were made to live, to learn, to love, to laugh, to grow, to grow. So, Amy, this takes me then to this question. In your view, what separates habits that stick from habits that will quickly fade, right? Because we are turning the corner, we're inviting those who are the leaders who are listening and watching to make some commitments shortly. But before they can commit, we want to kind of identify what are some habits that tend to stick, and what are some habits that it's just for the moment, it's not real, and it tends to fade.
Yeah, if habits are fading, we just want to have a quick moment of assessment. Is it fading because I actually can't be consistent at it yet? So, do I need to revamp what this habit looks like so I can still do it every day to build towards the goal that the habit is building towards? Or sometimes habits don't stick because we realize, oh, this wasn't actually what I needed to be doing. Habits, you can pivot habits all the time. We have what we call our peak performance trackers, where we have our daily habits on there every day that we check in with and we keep track of. And we update those systems all the time. You're always growing, expanding, shifting, evolving, changing. There's so much going on. So you don't have to be married to the habit itself. But assess why. Why is this habit not happening? If I'm getting zeros, let's keep using the tracker as an example. If I keep getting zeros on a habit, I have to look at, is it because it's not sustainable for me right now? Did I bite off more than I can chew right now? Or is it because it's actually not as important as I thought it was? And I actually don't need to be doing that every day right now. Maybe it's not as pivotal of a piece to the goal that I'm working towards as I thought it was. Maybe I've learned something new. Maybe I've even changed the end goal. Or maybe you've reached the goal and you're ready to expand to the next level, and that habit needs to expand along with you. There's so many reasons behind why that habit may not be happening. So you have to get curious and talk to yourself, ask yourself why that is. If you're looking at that habit and you're like, oh my gosh, I just want to do this thing. I want this end goal so deeply, but I can't seem to make it happen. This habit is not working for me. I'm not getting it done every day. Then we just need to make a pivot. We need to make a pivot into sustainability. We need to make a pivot around your belief. That's a huge part of consistency as well. What is your belief around this habit? Do you believe it's possible? Do you believe it's possible for you? Do you believe it's going to be worth it to do the habit? And which one of those needs assessed where we can help you build that? And what is your level from 0 to 10 of belief in yourself to be able to get this habit done every day? Again, if you're saying you're going to work out every day for 60 minutes, what is your actual belief level there? If it's only a 2, we need to drop that. Your self-belief is not there yet. But what's beautiful is the more you do something every day, the more your belief builds in that thing. And self-belief is the most pivotal pillar in all goals and success. I love 3 pillars: self-belief, self-worth, and consistency, but self-belief kickstarts all of them. Self-belief is in all 3 of those. Obviously, it's in self-belief, but the other 2 as well. And so what is your beliefs about the thing and your capability in that thing? It is so important to be able to assess that and then go from there.
Wow. This is I'm pausing because I'm thinking, like, this is serious and it's life critical, and yet it's so simple. Simple, right? Sometimes we complicate life. Again, at the beginning, we talked about, we believe that change has to be like this big monumental thing. But it's, Amy said to us right now, what is your belief system? And pivot your daily habits around your beliefs. Because if it's centered around what you believe, then you are more prone to actually engage in that habit. You're prone to actually desire that habit, right? To feel that there's a benefit and to feel good from the habit. And you caused me to think about habit in terms of sticky habits, the ones that stick, right? Sticky habits feel like a part of who you are. Oh man, when you talked about what is your belief system, that resonated right there. Fading habits feel like tasks that you are forcing. As you, and I say you, I'm talking to all of us in this leadership community as we look at these small daily habits that we're trying to have in our lives. What are the ones that you're forcing? And what are the ones that are sticking to you because it's a part of who you are? We want sticky habits that will last, sticky habits that we can build from the inside out. And as Amy said, we start with our identity. We keep it small, make it feel good, and allow it to be an anchor in our life. So Amy, share with us. I know that you often say that growth doesn't always feel good. Why do you believe that discomfort is a part of the path of real success?
Beautiful. I'm actually going to be able to tie this into what you just said about how sticky habits feel good and the ones that maybe we're resistant towards, we need to assess there. That's on the macro. On the micro, motivation shifts every day. The way you're feeling, even as women, we are so different from day to day, week to week, even just with our hormonal cycles and things. And so some days it's actually not going to feel good. It's not going to feel great to do this thing. But for the habits that are truly aligned, sometimes we do just have to have a moment of F my feelings. I need to get this done because I said I would. And so, no, being consistent and committing to the things you want to do every day doesn't always feel good. Some days you are on fire. You are energetic, you are articulate, you are centered, you are focused. And those days are easier to stick to your habits. And then there's other days, especially for women, we go very introspective. We become in a state where we need to be more relaxed, more internal than external. And on those days when you've committed to that habit, this is where adaptability is really important. Adaptability and grit. So if the habit is aligned, but we're still not getting it done, it's a moment of, okay, am I allowing my feelings to run this decision? Because at the end of the day, unfortunately, success actually doesn't care about our feelings. The formula of success does not care about your feelings, but you have to care about your feelings. That's your job for sure. And so adaptability is a very key point in consistency because, like you said, days are chaotic. They're busy. They're reactive, especially if you have children, pets, a home, another person who you're intertwining your life with. They're very reactive. Your day becomes very reactive because it's not just you with you. And so where can you create that habit to have an adaptable form? So if you create a habit that says, okay, I'm going to work out in the morning for 60 minutes before 6 a.m. and it's always going to be a HIIT workout or heavy weights workout. What if you don't get it done? What if you wake up that morning not feeling well, or your kid is not feeling well, or they need something from you? And now it's like, okay, is the habit done? Is the day over? Is it ruined? Or can you adapt? Can you turn that 60 minutes into something in the evening where you get to go for a walk instead, or get to stretch instead because your energy isn't the same? Again, you're pigeonholing yourself if you're saying, I'm just going to do weights every day, let's say. You need to have an adaptability. We need a check the box version of your habits because it is more important to check the box than get it done perfectly. Like you said, progress over perfection. So how can you make that habit adaptable? Don't pigeonhole yourself into a thing where it's all or nothing.
Yes.
You need to be adaptable based on your lifestyle, based on the reactivity. So my fitness journey, let's say for an example, my verbiage around my fitness journey is I'm going to work out and move my body in an aligned way for 30 minutes every day. So I get to assess what that alignment in that day looks like. Has it been a chaotic day? Am I tired? Great. We're doing some yin yoga on the mat.
Hey.
Like we are going to relax. And then there's other days where I'm like, oh, we're hitting the weights today. Absolutely. But it's a half hour every day. And I get to play around with what that looks like. And I get a check the box moment. I will always vote or believe in someone or bet on someone who can give me consistent 30% days over anybody who can give me spotty 100 days. Always. Consistent 30% days are always going to allow you to win over someone who can only give all or nothing every once in a while. And so have your check the box version of this habit, adaptability and grit. Some days are just hard, and they are, and that's okay. Because if you have a check the box version and you can grit it, put your feelings aside for a second and grit and get that habit done to the minimum standard that day if you need to. Again, when you're in it, you can push the standard if you're feeling good about it, however that works. But what's really beautiful is already we have painted what we call the star of consistency. It has 5 points and they feed each other. One is self-belief. What is your belief around this habit for yourself? Humility. Start accurately. Sustainability. What is the timeline you are putting on this? Drop it to a sustainable level. Have a moment or a season of messy action where you're developing this habit. Okay, I started at 60 minutes, can't get it done every day, dropping it to 30. Ooh, still can't get it done every day. That is okay. Drop it to 20. Set yourself up for success, win after win after win after win, and then expand as your capacity grows. The next is adaptability, like we just talked about. And lastly is grit. And what's really beautiful is those 5 points feed each other. If you grit it out and you do the thing, especially that you did not want to do that day, it doubles the self-belief points in your brain and you get to start the cycle all over again.
Woo. This is incredible. All right. I have 2 final questions for you. One, we need to hear a little bit about your journey, right? So, how did your journey lead you to becoming a speaker and coaching women through identity, alignment, and self-worth? Through this podcast, I've heard you use the word alignment multiple times. So we really want to hear, as leaders, we want to hear your journey. How did your journey lead you to becoming a speaker and a coach through identity, alignment, and self-worth?
Ooh, That's a that's a long story. I'm going to give you the condensed version as quickly as possible. I grew up very sick. I grew up with chronic illness in early teenage years. It was a very female driven condition, chronic illness, chronic fatigue, chronic pain. I went through surgeries, medications, hormone therapies, all sorts of things until my early 20s, where I just had this beautiful moment of clarity of I'm still in pain all the time. I'm still struggling. I'm now having side effects from all of these random things they're putting me on. And I just want to pause. I want to pause, get to know my body again, embrace what's working, let go of what isn't. And so I got to go on this really beautiful journey of healing. And again, it wasn't beautiful in a way, it was all sunshine and rainbows. It was really hard. And there was a lot of low moments, but each moment took me into the next. And I was able to find different modalities of wellness, different kinds of doctors, different practices to help me heal. And over time, again, I know we want to hear that it was just this one thing that I changed to get healthy and become pain-free and illness-free, but it wasn't. It was, a good 5 to 10 years of iterations and adapting and expanding and daily habits. I have things that I do every day unconsciously now that honor my hormones that I probably wouldn't even recognize now unless I sat down and be like, oh, here's all the things I do for the sake of this, because now it's just a part of my identity. I am a woman who honors my hormones every day through these practices that I don't even see as habits anymore. So that's the power of daily habits, is they build into your identity. And so people always ask, well, how are you able to do that? How are you able to go from so sick to fighting for your health? And then I have a background in anatomy and physiology myself, so that combined with the help of others, and then had my own practice for a while, helped women with like pre and postnatal pelvic balancing and care. And then I got asked to start speaking about my journey and how I was able to help myself through natural remedies. And so I got asked to be on stages, talking to women, created my own program for women. And it just proliferated from there. Started working with Kevin and Alan at Next Level University for my own podcast, my own professional journey for coaching with Alan for my business. And I sent him one of my speeches one day, and he not only gave me very positive feedback, it was one of my favorite keynotes that I got to do for women. And he said, we are looking for an MC and someone to come help with our live events. And I was like, love that. Absolutely. Would love to come help you. And then it just grew from there. I fell in love with everything that they do. And again, hindsight's always 2020. But when people ask me about my journey, it's like, well, how are you able to do that? It turns out I had a high level of self-belief. I believed it was possible. I believed I was worthy of feeling healthy. I believed that I could figure it out.
Mm-hmm.
And so people say, well, okay, I don't have that level of self-belief. That's okay. You can build it every day, just like you can build consistency. Small actions every day is going to help you build your belief. And
Yes.
and the worthiness factor of, I think people in chronic illness get stuck in this identity of, I'm actually not even worthy of feeling healthy. And so you always have to identify belief and worth.
Yes.
And so that is the brief little story. Obviously, there's ins and outs and nuances, but I ended up partnering with Next Level University because I know with this level of information that they have been able to provide me, and I have been able to partner with and help them with as well. But just that the personal development, the self-awareness, the person themselves, the amount of self-belief, self-awareness, and ability to be consistent is what is going to get them the success in whatever journey that is, whether it was a health journey like mine, a entrepreneurial journey, anything, motherhood, relationships. We deeply believe in health, wealth, quality of life, and love as holistic success. And so we help people with all of those. And it just allows me, I still bring in women's cyclical health into everything I do. I can't help it. You even heard me mention it before, how we're different every day. We have these energetic differences. But so that always comes in. But now I'm able to help them on a deeper level with all of the things that I have learned here and through the platform of NLU. And it's been really, really beautiful, actually. Yeah.
That's amazing. You are an amazing example of why we should not quit. And how when we take time to stop, get in alignment, understand our goals, our dreams, our values, ask ourselves the hard question, but also be compassionate with the season of life that we're in, be compassionate with giving ourselves some grace. Man, this is absolutely an example of how we can adapt and overcome and rise. I love the fact that you are using your giftedness, your talents, your own life experience to not just benefit you, but to literally benefit others.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's beautiful. So here's our final question, because I know beyond a shadow of a doubt that there are leaders that are listening right now and they're saying, I want to start shifting my life through daily habits today. Can you share with us what's one or two first small action steps that you would recommend for anyone that wants to start shifting their life today? What would you recommend for them to start?
I would ask yourself, one, to answer that question that you put up for them in the beginning. What does success mean to me? Again, success is so subjective. You heard me say alignment so many times. Alignment is subjective. Alignment means, what are your core values, core beliefs, core aspirations, and how do you stay within them for the sake of your goals in your life? And so diving deep into what those mean to you, even if you want to find your core values, Brene Brown has a great list online, Brene Brown core values, and you can just highlight the ones that you like and then start condensing them down into your top 3, and then start to see where you really get lit up when you're in those lenses of those values, and where you're really depleted when you're not. Even though it sounds like a good idea, even though other people love this thing, it's going against you at the core of your being. And so then how can you start building habits that align with those, but also towards where you want to go? And what is the smallest version that you can do so that you can stay consistent at it every day? The key is always every day. And again, it doesn't have to be perfect every day. What does that even mean? It's nonsense. It needs to be done every day. Check the box. Adaptation, that number 4, adaptability, might as well mean grace, honestly, the grace to pivot when you need to in that day. So make sure that you have the habits that feel good to you. Again, they don't have to feel good to you every day. Motivation is different every day, but feel good to you on a whole, that you want to build yourself and your identity into. What is the identity of the person you want to be? And you can build that. It doesn't matter that it's not in you right now. You can build it. You really can. My favorite question right now that Alan loves to ask is, what is a solution I can do today? What is something I can start today that fixes 1,000 future problems?
Mhm.
Now, that is a high level question. You need to know where you're going and you need to have the self awareness and things. But just however that looks for you, whatever that question brings up for you, what is something you can start now that is going to help you solve 1,000 future problems that you could have if you did not start this thing? Now, that can be looked through the lens of health, wealth, all sorts of things, relationships. What decision could you make in your relationships now to make them successful over time and avoid all the 1,000 problems? Or is it 1,000 problems you see in your future if this person stays in your life, and maybe we need to cut that off? But that's just a beautiful sentiment and a lens that you can build deeper into. But even just superficially right now, wherever you're at in your journey, what comes up for you with that question? Because I think it can help a lot.
I love it. All right, leaders, let me tell you something. Those of you who are listening and watching, I have received so much. I'm going to share with you one of my biggest takeaways from today. The habit doesn't have to be big, it just has to be aligned. Amy reminded us today that align with the person you're choosing to become. She started off talking about alignment, she ended talking about alignment. And this right here is my takeaway today. I'm asking all of you leaders, what's your takeaway? Amy wants to hear from you. I want to hear from you. But Amy, let me ask you this question. If there is someone that would like to learn more about your resources, your coaching, right, wants to get a little bit more guidance and insight from you, how can they keep in touch with you?
My private messages are always open. If you want to talk about self-worth, belief, your struggles with consistency, or maybe you have also struggled with like chronic illness and need someone to vent to and feel seen in, I am absolutely here for you. I am on Facebook and Instagram. It's just at Amy Lenuis, and those messages are open anytime. But if you are also interested in a platform with just daily self-awareness, I run the Next Level University Facebook group. It's called Next Level Nation, and it's free. And I'm in there every day asking you just a little self-awareness question every day. Sometimes it's really simplistic, like, what do you prefer with your chocolate, peanut butter or caramel? And sometimes it's, okay, what habit are you bringing into this week that you are doubling down on? What are you focused on the most currently? We'll do polls. Is it your health? Is it your wealth? Is it your relationships? What's that looking like? Just bringing you into that hint of self-awareness every day. And that is a free space that I am in. And Kevin and Alan are in themselves every day as well.
Fantastic. All right. So, Transformation Station community, we want to support Amy. We want to tap into the resources and learn more so we can continue to be a leadership community that grows. So, everybody, I'm inviting you. Contact Amy. You can go to Facebook. You see her Next Level Universe coaching link here. We'll put it in the chat. We want to grow so that we can have smart daily habits that are in alignment with who we are becoming. You see how that stuck with me, Amy? You see, I love it. Oh, listen, we definitely want to say thank you for joining us today in this Best in Class series. Amy, we would love to have you come back again because honestly, we just scratched the surface in this conversation. There has to be a part two. So we definitely will be calling you again. Thank you so much. And we look forward to seeing you again soon.
Thank you.
All right. Well, as we wrap up, here's today's best practice commitment. Choose one small intentional habit to commit to for the next 7 days. Keep it simple. Maybe it's journaling for 2 minutes, taking a daily walk, or setting an intention each morning, but track it, feel it, and build it. And remember, change does not require perfection, just direction. If this episode sparks something for you, I would love to hear about it. Share your daily habit, tag us, hashtag Transformation Station, or leave a review for us on the podcast platform that you're listening to. Remember, the community that shares, grows, and stays together. So until next time, keep showing up for yourself, one small habit at a time, and keep on transforming. I'll see you next time.